Welcome to Breakdown. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. JJ, what happened Monday?
Monday, it was April, but March Madness ended on Monday.
March Madness ended on Monday.
And an SEC team won. They have missed winning the last two NCAA football championships, but they won their first championship since Coach Cal in Kentucky won won it back in 2012. That was the last time an SEC school won a championship.
You know what? The SEC and the Big Ten had been missing basketball number one crown. But Florida brought it home for the third time this century.
Yep. Their coach is the youngest coach since the legendary Jim Valvano to win at 39 years old.
Yeah. How impressed were you by Florida?
I was very impressed by Florida. As you know, I was not a big believer in Florida. You know, I had them losing to Wisconsin. Or not Wisconsin. I had them losing to Maryland. But that was a whole other issue. I still think Maryland might have had more talent, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, they were resilient. You know, they got by Texas Tech on like a last second.
Yeah.
Same thing with Houston. I mean, Houston was up 12.
Came back.
You know, they were up 12 in the second half, and it looked like they were going to coast to a win, and instead, it was heartbreaking. The last four possessions for Houston, they turnovers last four possessions.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. JJ, Houston, 7 times they've gone to the Final Four.
Yeah, 7 times they've been to the Final Four. A couple times they've been to the championship game even.
But they can't shake it. They can't win it.
Hey, getting over the hump is hard.
Were they the best team in the tournament?
Houston?
Yeah.
I had Houston winning. Winning it all. I don't think that they were the best team in the tournament. After watching the Duke game, I think Duke was a better team. I just think that Duke had some issues. Houston gets 1 or 2 transfers every year, but other than that, they have continuity. They play with one another. Duke it's going to be a whole brand new roster next year from what it was this year. This year's roster was a brand new roster from what it was last year. So, there's some of these guys are freshmen that have never been through an NCAA tournament in their lives, and some of these guys have never been doing an NCAA tournament with the Duke teammates. They were at different schools last year. So,
welcome to the new NCAA.
Yeah.
Transfer portals, people come, people go, but the almighty dollar, still talking loud.
Yeah, 0-star guard Walter Clayton Jr. From Orlando, Florida. He was a 0-star guard. He went to Iona. Back in the day, Iona would have kept their players, and we would have a Cinderella talking about maybe Iona would have upset somebody. Nowadays, you show out and you transfer. You hit the transfer portal, and you go to one of the big boys. So
well, as I wish I knew which mid-major coach that was, but as he said, if you stay here 4 years in this mid-major school, it's your fault.
Yeah.
So. Man, I love it for the players. Yeah. It's not always great for the fans when they see people leaving, but when they see people coming, that's okay. Speaking of leaving, JJ, I got to talk about something close to us in proximity.
Okay.
That's Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Trey Hollerman leaving.
Yeah.
Man, how surprising were you? What was that to you?
Not surprised at all. He's a junior that doesn't start. It never surprised me.
He got significant playing time, though.
Yeah, but he started the season starting, and then he lost his starting spot to a freshman. I just think that it makes sense to put your name in the transfer portal no matter what, unless you are like the guy, on your team. I mean, it's just seeing what's out there. It's not necessarily. It's like going for job interviews. It doesn't mean you're going to necessarily take a job, but it's just good to see where you're at and where you're valued.
I like that point. I like that. So you're telling me that there's a chance that Trey will be at Michigan State next year?
There's a chance, but if I'm a Michigan State fan, I'm not sure I would want that. I definitely think that they could improve that spot, but if I'm not particularly a Michigan State fan, so I hope he does go back. Okay. Who will not be back at their school is Kevin Willard of Maryland. He left the Big Ten for the Big East.
Yes.
He did.
And there was a lot of drama there.
There was a lot of drama
even during the tournament.
Especially during the tournament. It was leaked that he was going to leave before Well, honestly, it was leaked that he was going to leave for Villanova before Maryland's first game. It really started building momentum and gaining steam once the Sweet 16 arrived, and when it became basically a foregone conclusion that he was going to leave.
Well, obviously, the coach of Maryland, who we're talking about, he not a big fan of the Big Ten basketball wise. He thinks they don't get enough emphasis on basketball. What say you?
He's 100% right.
Really?
The NCAA granted schools $23 million per school to split how they want.
Mm-hmm.
The Big East does not have football.
So that means they get to split a lot on basketball.
They can spend $20 million on basketball if they want and $3 million on other sports. That's why St. John's just got Bryce Hopkins and they just got that transfer from Arizona State. Like that's why Rick Pitino's cleaning up right now. Because the Big East, the Big Ten, the Big Ten and SEC will not let this continue. They will not let themselves be disadvantaged. So they're not going to let that happen. You can tell the way that they're valuing sports other than football by the investment that they put into women's basketball, men's basketball. You just look at the coaches, the facility upgrades. Like both these conferences are investing in basketball. They will not be disadvantaged like that way.
I thought Maryland was a better job than Villanova.
In a vacuum, it might be, but as of right now, when you have $23 million you can spend just for basketball, Villanova's a better job today. Also, Villanova's won 3 championships. Maryland's won 1. I think it's you pick your choice. I think they're comparable. It's which flavor you like.
Well, to be fair though, from my understanding, they won't be able to spend $23 million on basketball. It's going to be significantly less than that. It's a percentage of their revenues included as well, but it will be significantly, and maybe even more than the Big Ten.
It's going to be more than the Big Ten.
But
this year,
I still
significantly more.
It surprises me that the Big Ten, SEC. Well, Maryland coach, he kind of knocked the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, when you're on Maryland, you can't go any further east. You have to do road trips to LA. I mean, I don't necessarily blame him.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But he knew what he was getting into when he signed up for it. Mick Cronin, when he took the UCLA job, they were in the Pac-10 and the Pac-10 existed. He didn't know what he was getting himself into.
JJ, so far this year, since coaching positions have opened up, who got the best new coach coming in next year?
Well, Maryland got Texas A&M's coach, Buzz Williams. I'm not super high on him. He's been to one Elite 8, a few Sweet 16s. I think he's a pretty good coach, but I think there's a reason he, after 6 years, leaves.
He doesn't hang around.
Well, he before he got into the coaching, he studied coaches at every year. Like, what was this coach at 50 year, 60 year, 7 year? And if you haven't established yourself, been to a Final Four by your 7th year, a lot of the coaches, got put on the hot seat and
Okay.
That's when they start talking about firing, because you can take a bad program and raise it and elevate it, but once you elevate it, that's where the expectations and the standards become, and so that's when it's time to leave.
Okay, JJ, let's talk SEC and Big Ten, the basketball tournament. SEC obviously had more to enter. Mm-hmm. They had more in the Sweet 16, more in the Final Four. Is that just an aberration for the SEC this year?
I don't know. I think the SEC is incredibly intentional with all of their sports. You look at baseball, I think they're intentional with that. Look at gymnastics, I think you're intentional with that. Women's basketball, men's basketball. I think that their strategy is to try their best to dominate, and they have a lot of money, but the Big Ten has a little bit more. But the Big Ten never seems to care. It just means a little less. Athletics just mean a little less to the Big Ten. They care about your AAC status, your academic prestige, or they like to pretend to, at least.
Thank you.
But I mean, they do genuinely care less, I think, about football. Actions speak louder than words, and they're not willing to do the same things that the SEC is.
I'm not sure I can agree with you there, but
hey,
who knows?
Actions speak louder than words to me.
Well, it does mean more, but that doesn't mean it doesn't mean more in the Big Ten as well. If it didn't mean a whole lot in the Big Ten, I don't think the Big Ten would have gone after USC and UCLA.
No, I disagree.
Really?
I disagree vehemently. I think money means everything, and I disagree. I think the Big Ten is interested in money. I think the SEC is interested in respect, and
Interesting.
The Big Ten has respect. I think
the SEC does not.
I think I think it boils down to like some civil. I think it goes back all the way to 1860s.
61.
I think there's an inferiority complex. I think that the war of northern aggression is something that Southerners talk about. I mean, I've had conversations with SEC every year. I have this conversation with.
How many years ago has that been? I spent all 170 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, at least 165. But you just I hadn't thought of that. I kind of shocking to me. I don't know if I can buy that. I'll just go like that. I don't know if I can buy it. But it's an interesting theory.
No, it's definitely true for some people. I don't know how pervasive it is, but I've definitely had those conversations.
Interesting. Wow. I'm gonna have to do some research on that, JJ. You've interesting. But JJ, you mentioned about the SEC, and I'm gonna get off target for a moment. I don't even know we have a target today. We're just talking. But you mentioned it means more for the SEC. You mentioned baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's number one in the nation right now?
The defending champ Tennessee Volunteers?
No. They were until they got beat by Georgia. They got beat by Texas A&M.
Well, surely it must be Texas A&M, then the team that won it 2 years ago.
Surely it must be, but it ain't.
Oh. What about Old Miss? Didn't they win one 3 years ago?
I can give you a hint.
Oh. What that's
who? Pigs! Suey! Razorbacks! Who would that be? Who would that be number one in the nation in baseball?
It would be Dave Van Horn's squad, but that doesn't impress me. Arkansas has been number one in the regular season many times in the past decade.
That's true. It's not how
I would like them to be number one at the end of the season.
It's how you finish. But JJ,
which they have never done.
Back to the SEC and the Big Ten, the little squabble going on. The one that the SEC really want to win is not necessarily baseball. It's not basketball. What's the one that they really want to win?
They want to win football.
And they haven't done it recently. Who's been doing it in football?
Michigan and Ohio State the last 2 years.
That's true. And they're posed to make some noise again this year, right? This next season, rather. This coming season.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Ohio State and Michigan they'll be okay.
Okay. Really good.
Oregon, too. I think they might be all right.
Okay. There will be 12 teams again, unless they upped it to 14.
In the playoff, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of an SEC team that scares me right now.
I think I'm scared of South Carolina. I like their quarterback. I also like Florida's quarterback, DJ Lagway. But I don't know enough about Florida's roster. But I can say one of the reasons that the SEC, I think, did so poorly last year was because of quarterback play. Jalen Milroe was up and down. Quinn Ewers was up and down. Jackson Dart was up and down. They just didn't have any consistent, reliable quarterback play, which is something that the SEC has had for a while.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens this year. JJ, am I going to miss basketball?
No, you got baseball.
I do. We got so many things coming up, JJ. The NBA draft.
NFL draft first.
That's right. In this month, in April. NFL draft. NBA draft. Spring football.
Yeah, I guess. See what everybody's looking like during the spring.
There are some schools that are not having spring football this year.
Yeah, they're having it, but they're not televising it.
Right. They're practicing and doing all that, but they're not having a game for the public to see. What's your take on that? Good or bad?
I'm indifferent. I mean, I don't think that, them having games. I mean, I've been to a couple of spring games, Michigan State's and Central Michigan's, and they are nothing. It's not anything. It's like Midnight Madness in basketball. I don't think that I know like Nebraska started this with Matt Rule, and like they didn't want to give out any like tactical strategy. Like I don't. I mean, I don't know. I just think I don't care if they're televised or not. Ever since I've been in college, I haven't watched a single spring game. So
really,
yeah, I just don't know what it means. It's just I don't know what to do with that. It's like watching the fourth game of preseason football, preseason NFL football. I have no idea what this means.
I think it means more now given the transfer portal because a lot of guys.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, if a lot of guys, if they don't have a favorable spot when it comes to they're not the spring game. If they're not ending up at the one position, they might bolt.
Oh, it's happened a lot of times.
And that's unfortunate. Last year, Michigan State, my memory, I may be wrong, but I'm in the ballpark. They lost 18 players after the spring game.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, it happens all the time. Arizona State, Sam Leavitt transferred from Michigan State to Arizona State, and in spring he beat out Jaden Rashada. So Jaden Rashada transferred to be Georgia's third string QB.
Interesting.
But he did that after the spring game, and you don't see that from formerly starting quarterbacks too often. So I don't know. It's just a brand new world.
You got a couple of minutes.
I got some minutes.
I want to talk about the transfer portal.
Okay.
What is the solution to the transfer portal? I'm going to give you mine. What my solution is?
Yeah, I mean, just having the transfer portal. I think the solution to that is tying your transfer portal signee to a multi-year NIL.
And if they don't want to sign that multi-year,
they go somewhere else.
Okay. This is the answer. And I know the Southeast Conference is probably, I'm just guessing, I don't know, but that part of the country is dead set against unions. I think the only way is unionize the players, and you negotiate your contract, because as of right now, it's such a variety out there, and it's going to stay like that if. I don't know.
Yeah, if they can't collectively bargain some rules and regulations, it will be the Wild West.
They can't collectively do it because they are afraid of a lawsuit.
I know. Like they need to unionize, and then you can do a collective bargaining.
Exactly.
But I get that. But until that happens, it's just going to be like it's going to be the status quo. It's going to be just wild and crazy.
The Wild Wild West. It will happen in the next 2.5 years. Put it down. I hope. I think.
Your words will be marked.
JJ, what you got, man?
Hey, man, nothing. I just am looking forward to seeing who the Bengals take in the NFL draft. And other than that, I'm just coasting this baseball season. I'm just coasting and enjoying the rest of the summer.
Hey, everybody out there. Make sure you get an opportunity to watch the Arkansas Razorbacks. They're not number one in the country for no reason at all. They play baseball the way it was designed to be played in my mind. I watched a couple of games. Pretty good. But JJ, I'm ready to get out of here, man.
I am too. I will say this is a college podcast, but since you brought up your favorite baseball team, I will tell the audience to not watch my favorite baseball team. The Chicago White Sox are as horrible as ever. And for whatever reason, Jerry Reinsdorf really hates me. But other than that,
WPS. Woo Pig Suey.
Who they?
Bam.